Melania Trump seems to just deeply despise Donald Trump. And I don't mean this as like some deep psychological claim or what. I'm just saying you look at her around Trump and she seems to find him unbearable to be next to. We have this video from the state dinner yesterday for King Charles. Yes. And Melania Trump visibly is trying to pull her hand away from the embrace of Donald's, and Trump sort of tries to get it back, and then you will see that she just is like, no. Now, there's a reason I'm bringing this up. I don't see this as idle gossip. Take a look at this. So she's pulling. Trump tries to get it back, and she's just like, no, it's not going to happen. And the look on Melania's face, I mean, just dear God, that is a look that is of, oh boy, what did I do? Now, in terms of the humiliating moments, before I get back to what I believe is the sort of like importance of this, Trump's behavior was just completely whacked out during this entire thing. And you see Donald Trump just cut in front of Queen Camilla to shake hands, barging through like it's a rally rope line. And this is not like, oh, he broke protocol with the. It's just Trump doesn't give a damn about anybody but himself. Here is that. And he just marches right in front. And the king is trying to shake people's hands, and Trump could not care less about anybody around him. Dear God. So, okay. What do I think is like the deeper story here? There's a few layers to this. One of the things that I do when I think about the character of people, I do consider how they treat others and how self-centered and obsessed with themselves they are. And one of the things that you could say about, I'm going to include Republicans in this, okay? One of the things that you could say about George W. Bush and Barack Obama and Joe Biden, just to pick the more recent presidents other than Trump, is that you sometimes agreed with their policies and sometimes you didn't. You oftentimes, I mean, I had major ethical disagreements with the entire premise of the Iraq War, for example, and I found the entire thing immoral and unethical at a deep level. But there was no sense to me that on some fundamental level, George W. Bush, nor Barack Obama, nor Joe Biden just have this self-centered mentality around friends, around family, of I am the most important thing, person, all the time. I don't give a damn about anybody else. It's me. And Trump has that. And he has it in a way that leads to him having these moments of clarity in the sense of what he truly believes. Like, for example, I've always wanted a Purple Heart. Give me a Purple Heart. And a veteran, gives Trump their Purple Heart. And there's no recognition of the fact that, like, hey, what is the Purple Heart for? The Purple Heart is for people who have actually been hurt doing something you got a doctor's note to not have to do, serve in the military. And there is some deep level on which he just seems like a really horrible person. The Melania stuff, I just think it's important to consider that we have been sold a bill of goods about what it means to be a family man. It used to mean one thing, and it came to be okay when you have multiple children with a bunch of different wives. Now, I don't personally care about that, but Trump is part of a movement that claimed to. And there was an incredible contrast in Barack Obama and Michelle Obama's clearly good relationship. They like each other. It really was emblematic of what the evangelical right would say is the best type of relationship. But they hated them both because it wasn't really about that. And then in comes Donald Trump, who contradicts every aspect of that sort of relationship that they told us is important. And they don't give a damn. And they go, Trump's great and Melania's great and he's a good guy and he's a family guy, when he violates every single premise of that. And so you just have to remember, like I have a chapter in my book about don't waste time arguing about principles with these people. because they don't give a damn about their principles. As soon as it's politically inconvenient, those principles get abandoned. This is a reminder.
Okay, family, welcome back again to the channel. My name is Olivia. So, family, when I saw this clip of, Melania removing her hand from Trump, I mean, the love of her life, her husband, of course, I was like, and that was not just the only place these incidents have happened. All the videos I've seen or I've watched, she doesn't like holding hands with Trump. She doesn't like dancing with Trump. But when the other guy came in to dance with her, she was all happy, giving him the vibes and all that. So I was like, is this a forced marriage or is it arranged marriage or what's really happening? She's also fed up with Trump. Like, in as much as we know how Trump has been behaving recently or all his life, I'm kind of like checking or asking, is the wife also tired of him? For her not to be proud of the husband, for her not to, dance with the husband, hold hands with the husband. Like, eh? Let me leave you guys to watch the end. Okay, let me know what you think about, this whole thing with Melania and Trump, all right? And still watch what people have to say about it, okay? And I'll come back with more commentaries. Don't get anywhere, family. Stay with me, guys.
Last night at the state dinner with King Charles, Melania was seen slapping Donald Trump's hand away from her as he tried to hold it. And it was all caught on camera. It's incredibly humiliating. Just watch. Yeah, she absolutely hates him. It is just so obvious. She drops his hand and starts looking around, pretending it didn't happen. Then she has a smile that disappears within 2 seconds, and then Trump grabs her hand, basically forcing her to hold hands. She couldn't get away from him. And the crazy thing is, this is not the first time this has happened. There are so many different examples of Trump trying to hold her hand and her just like slapping it away from her. It's so funny every single time as well.
Y'all so quick to blame women. You know what? What about, maybe it's Melania's fault we at war, huh? She ain't loving on Trump. What am I talking about? Look at this. This woman is denying this man a love on a daily basis. If you don't love the man, just leave him. Leave him then. But the perk's too good. The perk's too good that she gonna stay and continue to deprive this man of love, and he gonna continue to go in on war because that's all he got. That's all the attention he can get. I know he's the most diabolical, terrible person to ever the presidency of the United States of America, but the least that Melania could do is fall on that sword. You know what I'm talking about? Jump on that bomb and save the American people by actually loving on that man. You know what I'm talking about? She not doing her job. What man you know that's being loved down want to start a war? None. None. I know some of the most grievous, the most dangerous of men who get with a woman that take their attention away from aggression, take their attention away from other dudes. You know what I'm talking about? So if we want to be mad at anybody, it's not just Trump's fault. It's Melania's fault too. Yeah, it's her fault. She came from overseas to fill a position that she ain't doing the right job for. We need to replace her. We need to give Trump somebody that's gonna love him enough that he can stop crying out for attention. He can get the attention from inside the house. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, I know you didn't think about that. Think about it. Yeah, Richard Victorious. Gotta stop out. I'm checking out.
Honestly, this just makes me sad, just from like a human perspective. And I know it's super humiliating for Trump, and we enjoy it and it's super fun, but it's crossing that boundary to where it's just sad. I feel bad for him for this, but not at the same time. I have a lot of mixed feelings now that I don't know what to do with them. Let me know how you feel about this in the comments. Don't forget to follow, share this video.
It seems like nobody's watching Melania Trump because they feel like she's just some sort of fashion accessory. But you know who I'm watching? Her. Because it's always the quiet ones that play the longest game. See, Donald screams so loud you can hear him from 3 states over. But Melania, she slips under the radar. That's power because while everybody is distracted with his circus, she's carefully shaping her own lane. Publishing books, selling crypto, dropping letters to world leaders like Putin, launching campaigns with a polished smile that makes her look above the fray. That's how you build longevity. You let the chaos shield you, and you plant seeds for the future. Think about it, she's now the only First Lady to serve in 2 non-consecutive terms. And that means influence, legacy. And every time she shows up, silent but present, state dinners, bill signings, even photo ops, the calm one, the palatable one, the normal face of a deeply abnormal administration. And that makes her more dangerous, not less, because she is the one that people underestimate. We should be watching her because Melania has figured out the sweet spot. Let Donald do the screaming, and she'll do the positioning. He's the fire, she's the velvet glove. And history shows us that it's always the ones who stay quiet, who avoid the spotlight, that often carry the most influence behind closed doors. I'm willing to bet she's been carving out power this entire time. And her power is going to turn into books, policies, and a legacy that long outlasts the noise. So yeah, laugh at Trump all you want, but don't sleep on Melania. Because the silent ones, they're the ones rewriting the script while everyone's busy heckling.
Now, regardless of your opinions of the politics of Donald John Trump, you can probably agree that there's probably not a whole lot of love and passion between he and Melania. But this was an interesting video because he seemed to be grasping onto her for dear life yesterday, to the point where you can see even after she lets go, he's still like using his pinky and kind of making sure he knows where she is. Because he's not a using my pinky to give you a little bit of affection kind of guy. All right. That's the kind of stuff I do with my wife because, you know, I love her. And she does with me because she loves me. This is not a Trump marriage situation. This is I'm confused. I'm going to fall flat on my face. I need help. And then she, of course, before they actually start moving, grabs onto him real tight again to make sure she can help him, right? This guy is about ready to fall asleep while he stands and then fall on his face when he walks. But, you know, leader of the free world.
This is incredible. Alex Jones is once again going off about Donald Trump and Melania Trump and their ties to Jeffrey Epstein. According to him and his sources, believe it or not, Melania has left Donald Trump years ago.
It was this, yes, Melania despises him. She has for years. She's got a financial deal with him. They've not been together for years, which I already knew. And she basically has already left him. And yes, she's pissed off about the Epstein thing and the fact that behind the scenes, the Israel lobby and others that blackmailed Bill Clinton with Monica Lewinsky stuff, that's confirmed, that not just for her, because there's nothing she did for the evidence we have, but Howard Lutnick, who did go to the island, a lot about a bunch of others, that Trump, as he said, is protecting his friends. And she's like, I'm not part of this cover-up. I'm not involved. I'm separating myself from the cover-up.
Bizarre, right? And then he actually says he's sad for Donald Trump because Donald Trump wants his legacy to be tied to Jeffrey Epstein and doesn't care about any of those America First agenda items.
So I'm sad for Trump. This is so dangerous. He wants to be the Epstein class. There's Lutnick on the island confirmed. He wants that to be his legacy. He says, I don't care about Medicare, Medicaid, and health care and daycare. We're a war economy now. Hell, the EU says that's their new economy's war. Screw all you peasants. Get ready for the draft. The Pentagon's getting ready for the draft.
It's really sad that Alex Jones is still on social media trying to defend Melania and then go after Donald Trump as if they're not two peas in the same pod. Now, Alex Jones, I need you to use your investigative journalism skills and get to the bottom of Melania Trump's relationship with Amanda Ungaro and Paolo Zampoli, all right? Because if you do, you will be the greatest investigative journalist MAGA has ever had. All right. You're on to something. Keep defending yourself. All right. But stop defending Melania, because from what I'm hearing, she's been in on it too.
It prevents Trump from actually having to touch her, which she may even find upsetting or disgusting. In this image, Donald Trump enters into a fanfare, and you can see that in the moment before he enters, that he presses his lips together, which is a sort of a getting ready stance to do something that's difficult or unpleasant. But the most interesting thing about this entrance of Donald Trump's is the air kiss with Melania Trump. Some people have claimed that Melania Trump and Donald Trump have a very antithetical relationship, that particularly Melania Trump is quite either angry or hateful or disgusted with Donald Trump. She is forced to go through her presidential wife identity with him. But I'm sure that their relationship is extremely transactional. And this was never part of the deal, that she would be on display and on show the whole time. It's quite likely that Melania Trump has a very strong dislike of Donald Trump. And that's just, I'm speculating now. But I suspect that she also knows a lot of his secrets. So Trump has a strange kind of respect for her. She's one of the few people who gets the last word with Donald Trump, because she, if she went to the press, she almost certainly would be able to destroy both his reputation and probably his presidency. In any event, there are lots of examples of body language where their relationship is not one of beatitude or friendliness or even warm caring, but is rather one of forms and etiquette and structure. And this is one of the classic examples where Trump has to kiss his wife, but she points out to him, I've got makeup on, don't mess up my makeup. But really what this does is it prevents Trump from actually having to touch her, which she may even find upsetting or disgusting. So Trump gives her, she leans in just barely like this, and he gives her a little air kiss from about 4 centimeters away. You can see other examples like this. There are loads of them on the internet, in which Donald Trump will be walking with Melania and he'll be wanting a moment of just warmth and kindness, and he'll touch Melania on the hand and she'll slap his hand away. She really gives away a lot in body language, showing that she wants as little to do with him as possible.
All right, the Iran war raging on, and Donald Trump already pulled out without the consent of a ceasefire or anything from Iran, or the end of the war from Iran. No wonder Melania doesn't like Trump. And Donald Trump has to hang out with Jeffrey Epstein. What kind of woman would like a man who pulled out without consent?
Melania and Donald Trump's marriage is falling apart in the most hilarious and hypocritical way possible. Hilarious because it is very public. We saw it this weekend. We saw it today. We just saw it happen at a dinner with King Charles, in which Melania gave Donald's hand a little, well, we'll get into that. But hypocritical because Donald Trump is now threatening to remove Jimmy Kimmel once again from the air because he went after the wife who he loves so much that she can't stand him, and so much that he forgot to wish her a happy birthday on Sunday. Yes, the marriage is falling apart, and a hilarious clip proved just that. But this is not the only humiliation of Donald Trump that we saw, certainly today or tonight. The entire visit of King Charles has been a humiliation ritual for Donald Trump that he himself has played into. We're going to get into what Charles said in the speech before the Melania moment, actually 2 Melania moments that you're going to want to see, but how Trump started it off fed into what King Charles has been saying and mocking Trump with.
But it was unconquerable courage, this inexhaustible supply of ambition, ingenuity, and resolve. From the trenches of World War I to the beaches of Normandy, from the frozen hills of Korea to the scorching sands of North Africa and the Middle East, And we're doing a little Middle East work right now, too, if you might know. And we're doing very well. We have militarily defeated that particular opponent. And we're never going to let that opponent ever, Charles agrees with me, even more than I do, we're never going to let that opponent have a nuclear weapon. They know that, and they've known it right now very powerfully. But our countries have stood together.
So Donald Trump, as always, cannot stop talking about not just himself, but his massive failure. His war on Iran is a massive failure, and it has been the topic of much consternation, at least with King Charles, as we will see in just a second, because Charles has made it clear that Donald Trump's attacks on NATO, attacks on our allies through unnecessary trade wars, directly threatening world leaders, has only isolated him from the rest of the world. And this, of course, is supposed to be a visit bringing the special relationship closer together. Has Donald Trump done that? Not really. No, because he can't. He can only talk about himself. He said that the speech given by King Charles today was great because he was jealous that he didn't get the applause from Democrats, which what is more Donald Trump than that? But no, King Charles has made it clear that he does not appreciate Donald Trump's isolationism. He does not appreciate his attacks on his allies, and he does not appreciate how Donald Trump claims that he is in charge of everything. In fact, he took a little bit of a shot at him for that right here.
This said, our French friends can feel equally at home with a glance at a map. Indeed, you recently commented, Mr. President, that if it were not for the United States, European countries would be speaking German. Dare I say that if it wasn't for us, you'd be speaking French.
You're not the first lady to have to deal with her husband's alleged infidelities. Has this put a strain on your marriage?
It is not concern and focus of mine. I'm a mother and a first lady, and I have much more important things to think about and to do.
Viral videos of Melania swatting Trump's hand away from hers have become common, along with videos of her smiling for cameras, only to immediately drop the fake smile once she thought the cameras had moved on. When Trump won the White House in 2016, it took Melania months to move to D.C. with her husband. She claimed at the time that she was waiting for their son Barron to finish the school year, but she also used that time to renegotiate her prenup. Once she was in the White House, she seemed to be staging silent protest through her fashion choices, wearing blouses that seemed to suggest that she stood in opposition of her husband's derogatory statements on women, and professing that she doesn't really care about her duties as the First Lady or the issues facing Americans. She also expressed frustration when she decorated the White House for Christmas, and rather than looking cheerful and festive, it just looked like Valley Forge during the Revolutionary War, either that or The Handmaid's Tale.
They say I'm complicit. I'm the same like him. I support him. I don't say enough. I don't do enough.
No,
where I am, I'm working like my ass off.
I know.
That Christmas stuff that, who gives a about Christmas stuff and decoration, but I need to do it, right?
Yeah, but imagine 100%. You have no choice.
And then I do it, and I say that I'm working on Christmas, planning for the Christmas, and they said, oh, what about the children, that they were separated? Give me a break.
But here's my thing. Hear what you just said, but instead of that, if your messaging, you were so loved.
They would not do the story. We put it out. They would not do the story.
I'm telling you.
You would not believe it. They would not do the story because they would not do the story because they are against us because they're liberal media. Yeah, if I go to Fox, they will do the story. I don't want to go to Fox.
Then while Trump was sitting in a New York City courtroom defending himself against allegations of sexually abusing women, Melania was nowhere to be seen. Republican talking heads mused that her presence would have actually helped his case. If his wife stood by him, if she seemed to believe that he was innocent, then maybe the jury would also believe that he couldn't be all that bad. Melania didn't even do that much for her husband. When Trump decided to launch his third consecutive presidential campaign, Melania was understandably, allegedly distraught. According to reports,
Hey Donald.
Hello.
Let's play a game, shall we? Can you say defensive misses?
Defensive misses.
Ask and you shall receive. Now, Donald, were you expecting that to happen?
That was very unexpected.
I think that's the diabetes talking again. Let me roll the footage for you because I have receipts. Melania, girl, I have a question. Are you okay? Yeah, now you know how many of us Americans feel like. Melania, let me offer you some words of encouragement. I really don't care. Do you? Your words, not mine. That lady definitely does not like him.
Almost like, stop, bitch.
Melania Trump no longer openly displaying her dislike for Donald Trump in public. Melania's dissatisfaction with her husband has been a hot topic for years, but it was particularly evident at the recent inauguration event. At the inaugural ball, when she danced with Trump, she showed almost no emotion, maintaining a cold and distant expression throughout. However, when a young military officer invited her to dance, Melania flashed a charming smile, a stark contrast to her previous demeanor. The most controversial moment occurred during the dance. Melania tossed her head back, seemingly to brush her hair away, but this gesture conveyed impatience, as if deliberately creating distance. Trump seemed to misunderstand this, attempting to move closer and re-engage, making the situation even more awkward. Their interactions during the inauguration also sparked discussion. When Trump tried to kiss her, her large hat blocked his way. The two could only awkwardly kiss from a distance. Melania's refusal to even approach him made the moment seem even more abrupt. Some believe that Melania's attitude stems more from her focus on her son, Barron Trump. She has publicly stated that her primary identity is that of a mother, with her roles as First Lady and wife taking a back seat. Others believe that her public appearances with Trump are more about ensuring Barron's future stability than about supporting her husband. What do you think?
Well, it seems that Donald Trump has managed to teach his wife, Melania, his signature move when all you do is lose, and that is make sure you blame somebody else. Welcome back in to Occupy Democrats on a Manic Monday. I'm going to show you that breaking story in just a moment because Melania Trump has gone full Nostradamus. She has understood and knows in her mind what must have driven the shooter at the White House Correspondents' Center just the other night because, well, it's got to be a comedian, right?
Trump's hand-picked FCC chairman went on a podcast and suggested ABC's broadcast license or affiliates could be at risk if they did not suspend or fire Kimmel, essentially issuing an order saying, and I quote him here, "We can do this the easy way or the hard way."
Thanks, Brendan. We're going to do it the hard way. Spoken like a true mob boss, except he's actually the head of the Federal Communications Commission.
For me, Christmas doesn't start until the First Lady says it does. She's working on a plan to decorate what is now left of the White House. And
yeah, that's called a joke, just like Melania and Donald Trump are.
Hours later, ABC made the announcement Kimmel would indeed be taken off the air indefinitely. This is just the latest chapter in Donald Trump's ongoing campaign to essentially render the First Amendment meaningless.
Yes, that's literally speech like this.
Christmas ornament. It can be yours for only $90. There are 6 collectible ornaments, each inscribed with the signature of Melania Trump. All proceeds go to Melania Trump.
Not only funny, but also actually factually true, and yet our pasty, thin-skinned POTUS works on his justification for it. Here.
When Stephen Colbert announced that his late night show was being canceled back in July, the President of the United States, Donald Trump, had a chilling reaction.
Fallon has no talent. Kimmel has no talent. They're next. They're going to be going. I hear they're going to be going.
Here are also facts.
Why not? Every other Trump's raking in. Trump made $3 billion this year. Eric and Don Jr. made more than $1 billion off crypto. Jared's company has a $5 billion deal in the Middle East.
But then the FCC chair went and bent the knee to Donald Trump.
Well, tonight, an ABC spokesperson confirms that Jimmy Kimmel's late night show has been preempted indefinitely.
But then Mr. Kimmel reminded all of us who America really is.
Jimmy Kimmel finally breaking his silence.
The government threat to silence a comedian the president doesn't like is anti-American.
Still, the maggot mobsters over at Nexstar They tried on Trump's behalf.
Nexstar, the largest owner of local stations in the country, came out and said it, quote, strongly objects to recent comments made by Kimmel concerning the killing of Charlie Kirk and will replace the show with other programming in its ABC-affiliated markets.
And Jimmy Kimmel, for everyone, won that.
President Trump was caught giving Melania a little love tap on the tush as they walked onto the grounds of the White House with King Charles and Queen Camilla yesterday morning. So in the photo, you just see Trump's hand on her butt.
Yeah, nice handful you got.
Yeah, it's on our Facebook page and in our Instagram story at Ryan Gorman Show. Now, I did a poll to find out what people thought about this. Was it a playful moment or inappropriate? And 84% said it was an innocent, playful moment. 16% think it was inappropriate. And then in the comments, someone said, looks like two people truly in love. A lot of people thought it was totally fine. That's his wife. No big deal.
Yeah.
One person said, there isn't much to tap anyway. I'll pass.
Wow.
Yeah, that was
Shot
pretty
at
nasty.
Melania.
And then somebody else said, Charles wishing he could do the same.
Yeah, that's true. I bet Charles was thinking that. Although, if I'm Melania, his sausage fingers are there.
Gross. Yeah, the sausage fingers.
What is with the Trump administration? They seem very horny these days. You got Trump touching Melania on the butt. You had Stephen Miller grab his wife by the boob.
Yeah, when they were leaving the ballroom the other night at the White House Correspondents' Dinner.
Yeah, they're all amped.
The worst part of this clip is not Melania pulling her hand away, and it is not how uncomfortable and unhappy the two of them look standing next to each other in front of the entire world. The worst part is that she probably didn't even realize that she did what she did. This is what happens when you've been pulling away mentally, emotionally, and physically for so long that it stops being something you do just in private and starts being something your body just does. Not because you're conscious of it, because you are so disconnected that your body won't even allow itself to stay in that moment. And listen, the pulling away never starts in public. It starts in your bedroom, at your kitchen table, in the middle of those arguments where one of you shuts down or one of you walks away. It happens over time, in the conversations you're not having, in the needs that are not getting met, in the effort you're putting into pretending things are great when they're not. You might not see yourself in how bad this looks, but if somewhere in your relationship the pulling away has already started, what you're living is what I call the slow drift. And it's something that most couples experience, and you don't even realize it's happening until your body starts doing what Melania's just did.
The indications that we have in the evidence that we uncovered is, yes, she has a separate apartment there.
So she may not have wanted to move down to the White House because she didn't want to have to be in the same close living quarters as Donald Trump. She overcomes that.
No, I mean, I think that is obviously part of it. That the marriage that they have is not a conventional marriage. Now, within the White House, I mean, I once had this, and I've written this. I had a discussion with one of his close aides, and I said, what is really going on here? Just trying to get some indication. And I really thought I would just get a sort of, that sort of kind of wink, nod kind of thing. And I said, what is going on here? And this person looked at me like I was...
Man, it just keeps getting worse for Donald and Melania Trump, but specifically Donald Trump, because last night at the state dinner with King Charles and his wife, Donald Trump was seen trying to grab and hold Melania's hand, but she did something that she has done in public before, which was essentially drop it, slap it away. She looked disgusted with Donald Trump, and all of it was in public, in front of the media. All of it was caught on camera, and the very happy relationship doesn't seem to be so happy. So I want to show you this clip of Melania just embarrassing her husband on the world stage in front of a significant world leader. But to start, I want to point out that this was not the only embarrassing video of Trump and Melania that came from yesterday with King Charles's state visit. Donald Trump, while speaking to the media with King Charles behind him at the White House, tried to make a joke to Melania about their marriage that didn't really land with her. She gave him like a very...
First, Melania Trump gets on stage and denounces that she's had any involvement with Epstein, which is a lie. And now we have Donald Trump basically foreshadowing his divorce with Melania Trump, saying he's not going to last as long as his parents. I don't know. Check this out.
She came to America at 19, met my incredible father. We loved him so much. We all loved him. We loved her. We loved him, Fred, and they were married for 63 years. And excuse me if you don't mind. What? That's a record we won't be able to match, darling. I'm sorry. Just not going to work out that way. We'll do well, but we're not going to do that well. 63 years. And they were married for 63 years. And excuse me if you don't mind. That's a record we won't be able to match, darling. I'm sorry. Just not going to work out that way. We'll do well, but we're not going to do that well. 63 years. They were married for 63 years. And excuse me if you don't mind. That's a record we won't be able to match, darling. I'm sorry. Just not going to work out that way.
Wait a minute. Wasn't Melania and Donald outraged at Jimmy Kimmel for implying that Melania looked like an expectant widow? Didn't Trump just imply the same thing?
They now feel that she has become a huge liability. And they kind of trace this, and they connected first to Epstein, but then that proceeded from there to the Melania the movie, which in Melania world was supposed to be her coming out and her celebration. But in the White House, they feel that this has really engendered quite a bit of blowback. Number one, because the movie is ridiculous. Number two, because it's just another example of Trump family grift, that she was paid so much money from Amazon, and for what? For being the first lady, really, a bride. Then, to top that off, was her inexplicable news conference, if we want to call it a news conference, a couple of weeks ago, in which she managed to squarely put herself into the Epstein story. So everybody within the White House, it's like, oh my God, the Melania situation is a real problem. And it has raised all kinds of questions about their marriage, about actually how she came to this country, about the nature of her relationship with Trump and with this guy, Paolo Zampoli. And that, of course, has now come out in the last couple of weeks. So Melania is seen as a problem. And the Kimmel response was actually an effort to gain some sympathy.
Okay, family, thank you for watching that video. I hope you found it very interesting. If you do so, please make sure to like it. Of course, support the channel by subscribing to the channel if you haven't subscribed yet. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye bye and stay safe, guys.